but wala, kailangan natin mag-discuss. I'll be presenting my screen. Hold on for a moment.
At dito kayang mga payong na yan?
Kita na ba yung screen ko? Kita na yung screen ko. Nakapresent na.
Yes po.
Okay. Sige, kailangan ko pala uling mag-present sa tablet para kita ko yung mga sumasagot.
Ang lakas ng ulan sa Asis. Sa Asis, matulaing bayan ng Asis. Saan kayo? Malapit yung may chapel. O sa barangay hall. Malapit doon. Atay, tutuwagan natin yan.
So, ayun guys, good day. Today we'll be discussing second to the last topic of heat transfer, which is the heat exchangers. Well, dapat talaga, this would be your last topic. Dapat talaga heat exchanger would be the last topic. Based sa syllabus natin, yung diniscuss natin siya. But we'll be dealing with this one first before mag-graduation. We'll follow the sequence from the book. And kasi, kung baka rin kulangin kayo sa kulangin kayo sa time sa pagpe-prepare ng inyong final project. So, heat exchangers, what do we know about heat exchangers? Siyempre, this is a device, alam naman natin that this is the device that we use in many engineering applications such as heating and air conditioning, where the heat exchange between two fluids. So, yung heat natin exchange between two fluids that are at different temperatures. Between two fluids that are at different temperature. Are at different temperature. And yun nga, gaya ng na-mention natin, heat exchangers are commonly used sa mga air conditioning natin, sa refrigeration system natin, sa mga radiators natin. So, yun, itong mga two fluids natin are, excuse me, being separated by solid walls. So para hindi sila magkameron ng contact with each other, yung ating mga fluids sa heat exchangers. So ano ba yung iba't ibang types ng heat exchangers? Types ng heat exchangers. So the first classification natin, we can classify it based on the type of construction. Type of construction. So, sa type of construction, we do have our concentric tubes or concentric tube heat exchanger. Concentric. Concentric tube, or we also call this as the double pipe configuration or the double pipe heat exchanger. Ano ba yung double pipe heat exchanger? As you can see on our figure 57, ganyan yung arrangement niyan. Meron tayong isang malaking pipe, then may isa pang pipe sa loob niya which is concentric to that big pipe, to that large pipe, and then yung isang fluid natin will run inside this tube, this a smaller tube, papasok dito sa maliit na tube, then the other fluid that will run will flow outside of that small tube which is on the annulus. Ito, ano ba yung annulus? Ito yung space between that small tube and the large tube. So that is what we call the annulus. So, ganyan yung construction, kaya sa tinawag na concentric tube. And this concentric tube is the simplest configuration ng heat exchanger natin. And yan, in this diagram, itong una nating drawing, this is in parallel flow. So, ito yung flow arrangement niya, parallel flow. Kasi, as you can see, yung flow natin ay both directions. In the same direction for both the inner tube and the annulus. So, ito, papunta lahat dito, papunta dito yung fluid natin, and yung fluid natin sa annulus papunta rin on that same direction. They are coming in on the same on the same point, and yung flow nila ay going on the same direction. So, kaya siya tinawag na parallel flow concentric tube. Then, kapag naman counterflow, as you can see on the diagram, yung katabing diagram, yung letter B, excuse me, yung letter B, let's say this is your large tube, then this is your small tube. Let's say yung fluid natin na nagra-run at that smaller tube is papunta dito, going here, then the tube running in the annulus ay on the opposite flow. Papunta dito, counterflow. Kaya siya tinawag na counterflow heat exchanger. So, yan yung flow arrangement niya, counterflow. This is counterflow. So, yan. Again, this is the most basic, excuse me. This is the most basic setup ng ating heat exchangers. So, yan. So, another type natin is our cross flow heat exchanger. Pag sinabi natin cross flow heat exchanger, as you can see on figure 58 daw, cross flow heat exchangers, yung una, as you can see, that is excuse me, sorry talaga guys, that is excuse me, sorry talaga. That is finned with both fluids mixed and unfinned. So let's have finned with both fluids unmixed.
Pero wala yata, dito natin sa stage nung iba. Yung mahihain pagka may kain na, yung ganda, wag may kain na ikaw.
And unfinned
Kita mo sa lalagyan na.
with one fluid fixed.
Sabi nila tanang.
Mixed with one fluid mixed and one unmixed. Yan, as you can see on the diagram, when we say both fluid mix dyan sa finned natin, dyan sa figure A, nasasabi natin siya ay unmixed because the fins prevent motion in the direction Y that is transversed to the main flow direction X. So, ibig sabihin, yung ating fluid doon cannot move sideways across the flow path, and it only travels straight through its channel, kung mapapansin nyo. And yun nga, since siya ay unmixed, there would be no cross-mixing between the parallel flow passages of that. And this is common nga sa cross-flow heat exchangers natin na plate fin. Katulad yan, yung nasa diagram natin, those are plate finned. Plate finned. And then whereas, pag sinabi naman natin unfinned, with one fluid mixed and the other unmixed, with one fluid mixed and one unmixed, uh, ibig sabihin, yung mixing in the transverse direction is possible, and temperature variations are primarily in the main flow direction. So, ibig sabihin yan, yung one fluid mix natin, this indicates that yung fluid natin can move freely in the cross direction inside its section. You can see that on figure 58B, yung nasa right side, di ba? Yung cross flow niya. Yung fluid na yun can move freely in the cross direction inside its section kasi unfinned nga siya. Wala tayong mga plate fin that would guide the direction. So, let's say may fluid dyan, nagsuswirl lang yan na nagsuswirl sa loob kapag unfinned. And then, kaya din sinabi siyang with one fluid unmixed, kaya unmixed yung isa, kasi yung fluid natin na nandoon sa tube, na inside the tube, will still flow straight. Na hindi siya mag-mix between these channels. Walang mixing na mangyayari between the tubes. So, kaya siya unmixed. And yun nga, this happens inside the tube flow. So I hope that is clear. Pag finned, kaya both fluids mixed, kasi yung fluid natin, yung both fluids unmixed kasi meron tayong mga fins, may mga plate fins tayo based dito sa diagram. So hindi magkakameron ng mixing of fluids between the channels. Whereas kapag unfinned, yung one unmixed fluid natin is because nagflow siya sa different tubes, hindi magmi-mix yung fluid natin on those different tubes, whereas meron tayong one fluid mixed kasi yung fluid natin outside that tube, since unfinned tayo, will move freely and will just swirl around that cross direction. So kaya siya nagmi-mix. So yun yung for cross-flow heat exchangers. And then next na nakapresent sa atin dyan is the shell and tube. Ito naman, this shell and tube heat exchanger, as you can see, there are bundles of tubes, or let's say, may mga tubes tayo inside a large cylindrical shell. You can see that on figure 59. So sabi dyan, yung heat exchangers natin on shell and tube, will differs depending on the number of shell and tube passes. So, ang pinaka-simple ay itong single shell and tube passes. As you can see, sa figure 59, isa lang yung pinaka-shell natin. And that shell has inlet, meron siyang outlet, then present din yung baffles natin doon. Yung baffles, ini-install yan to increase the convection coefficient of the shell side of fluid by inducing turbulence and the cross-flow velocity component. And, yung baffles natin, nag-i-improve yan ang heat transfer natin. So, it depends on the design kasi there would be a larger surface area na may contact sa fluid. So, yung baffles natin, kaya tayo nag-install ng baffles to increase the heat transfer. So, as you can see, yan nga, ang tawag dyan sa figure 59 is a single or one shell pass kasi isa lang yung pinaka-shell natin and one tube pass kasi isa lang din yung present na tube or isa lang yung direction ng tube na ating shell. Yon. And then you can see on the next page sa figure 60, yung first diagram, that is still a one shell pass and two tube passes kasi mapapansin nyo, isa lang yung shell natin dyan with its inlet and outlet. Then meron tayong dalawang passes ng tube, one for the inlet and one for the outlet. So yan yung tinatawag nating one shell pass and two tube passes. And then yung figure B naman, is what we call the 2 shell passes and 4 tube passes. Kasi as you can see, dalawa nga yung shell natin. Dalawa yung shell natin, cylindrical shells. And yung passes natin, if you will count, we do have 4. Dalawa sa first shell, dalawa din sa second shell. So that is what we call the 2 shell passes and 4 tube passes. And then, as you can see din, meron tayong mga baffles installed there. So, again, those baffles increase our heat transfer. Yon. And then, different types of compact heat exchangers are presented din yan. We do have compact heat exchangers. Compact heat exchangers. Yan. And the examples of this, as you can see, yung una, that is your fin tube. As you can see, meron tayong plate fins. Plate fins yan. And then yung tubes natin ay designed na flat. Flat tubes yan. So that is a flat tube, continuous plate fins. Then yung B, that is still a fin tube. Yung fins naman natin sa B ay flat plate pa din. Plate fins pa rin yan, flat plates pa rin, pero circular tubes naman yung gamit. Then for figure C, figure 61, yung fins na natin, yung design ng ating plates ay circular din yung tube. Then, letter D, plate fins, single pass. As you can see, meron tayong mga corrugations dyan. And plate fin na multi-pass kasi marami tayong passage ng ating fluid dyan. So, those are the types of our heat exchangers. Again, we do have the flat plate heat exchanger, which is the cross-flow, commonly designed as the cross-flow heat exchangers. We do have shell and tube. We do have a concentric or the double pipe heat exchangers. So those are the common designs ng heat exchangers natin. And then to evaluate our heat exchangers, we need to consider our overall heat transfer coefficient, di ba? If you can recall, our overall heat transfer coefficient, we have already discussed this nung tayo ay naggagawa ng thermal resistance, if you can recall. Kasi our U on our thermal resistance is 1 over your thermal resistance, di ba? This is how we define overall heat transfer coefficient when we discuss thermal resistances. And dito, sa design ng heat exchangers, we are going to consider still this overall heat transfer coefficient on both the conduction and convection resistances na nangyayari between the fluids and our surfaces. And we can define our overall heat transfer coefficient as 1 over overall heat transfer coefficient times your area. That is equal to 1 over your overall heat transfer coefficient on the cold side, on the cold fluid, times your area, the surface area being considered on the cold fluid, which is also equal to 1 over your overall heat transfer coefficient at the hot side times the area on the hot side. So, this equation, ito, equal lang yan. Equal lang yung ating mga overall heat transfer coefficients when we evaluate it both on the cold side and the hot side of our heat exchanger. But this can be changed, or this would change kapag meron tayong kino-consider na fouling. Kasi, syempre, kapag kino-consider natin itong design na to, ito ay equal kasi we do not consider yung fouling natin or yung maaari due to the fluid impurities or rust formation or other reactions between the fluid and the raw material. So, because of this fouling, we also need to consider that on our calculations, on our design of our heat exchangers. That is the fouling factor, RF. And as you can see that, the fouling factors on table 7. On table 7, next page, page 125. Yung fouling factors on page 125. So you can see that the values of the fouling factors depending on the fluid. Yan, and I think meron pa ditong table for fouling factors. Let me just double check. Ito, nakapresent din siya dito sa book. Yes, you can also check on page 136. Page 136, we do have the representative fouling factors presented as well there. I think, sorry, pareho lang pala siya. But you can check that as well. Nandiyan na rin yung overall heat transfer coefficient for fluid combinations. So, yeah. We need to consider that. And kapag consider natin yan, we can express our formula, itong formula natin na nakuha na ito, in 1 over your fin efficiency. This is yung eta sub O nyo is the fin efficiency or yung overall surface efficiency natin times your convection heat transfer coefficient times the area on the cold side. These are all on the cold side, plus our fouling factor, the resistance there at the cold side. Again, we need to consider that, times your overall surface efficiency times your sorry, hindi na since meron na tayong resistance pala, may thermal resistance na tayo, will not consider 1 over H na dito. So this is area times your on the cold side plus your resistance pa, RW, plus the resistance, the fouling factor on the hot side over your efficiency, surface efficiency on the hot side, plus your 1 over efficiency times convection coefficient times your area on the hot side. Ano yan? Bakit naging ganyan? Di ba kasi guys, ito, kung maaalala nyo, di ba, this 1 over H, di ba, this is our resistance. Yan, ito. This is your resistance. So 1 over H is resistance. And kung resistance yan, i-reciprocal natin kasi need natin ng UA. Kaya naging ganyan since nasa taas yung resistance natin. Kaya naging ganyan yung equation natin. So I hope you are getting it's more on the mathematical side. Kaya naging ganyan yung equation natin. Again, we are considering the convection resistances sa fluid natin, sa pagpa-flow ng fluid natin. Kaya naging ganyan yung equation natin. We just added yung ating fouling factor sa equation. We just consider this fouling factor to get the overall heat transfer coefficient. This U. O, yun yung need natin sa pag-evaluate. We need to solve for the overall heat transfer coefficient. And then next, still, gaya ng sabi ko, diba, we both consider conduction and convection resistances sa ating heat exchangers kasi syempre there would be contact with the surface and the fluid and yung conduction resistance ng ating material, ng ating mga walls, ng ating tubes, ng ating plates. So, kaya meron tayong RW dito. Resistance to due to conduction, this RW. And yan, considering this, we can solve for our heat transfer natin in our heat exchanger equal to Q equals your surface efficiency surface efficiency times your heat transfer coefficient times area times your base temperature minus your fluid temperature.
Don't be down to use the NGR in front and all.
Yan. And our surface efficiency N sub O or itong eta O, itong eta O natin, makukuha natin yan if we get the efficiency of each of the fins na ginamit natin sa ating heat exchanger. So that is 1 minus yung area, total area ng fin all over area ng single fin minus times 1 minus your efficiency ng single fin. So that is how you solve for our eta O or the overall surface efficiency. Excuse me. And then para i-solve natin yung efficiency ng isang fin ng ating heat exchanger, that is using the hyperbolic tan ml all over ml, wherein your m is equal to 2h over kt raised to 1/2, wherein your T is your fin thickness, and your K is the thermal conductivity of your fin, then H is your heat transfer coefficient. So, yan. Again guys, kailangan nyo yan ilagay sa inyong magiging formula kasi marami talaga siya. So, given din dyan, kapag unfinned, yung ating heat exchangers, kapag wala tayong mga fins, you will get that equation presented dyan. The inner and outer tube surfaces, yung I represents the inner surface of the tube, and yung O represents the outer surface of the tube. So you consider that formula. It's just the same. It's the same with this. Kung i-analyze nyo, pareho lang siya nito. It's just that ang ine-evaluate natin dito ngayon is not the cold side and the hot side, but rather the parameters outside the tube and inside the tube. Kasi unfinned nga siya. Unfinned yung ating heat exchanger. So, given yan dyan, it's 1 over H, A pa din. So, that's resistance ng convection plus your fouling factor plus resistance ng conduction, yung naka-LN. If you can remember, diba, that's your resistance ng conduction kapag circular tubes. Then, yung fouling factor natin sa outside tube plus yung resistance, yung convection resistance natin on the outer tube. So, yan. Yan yung formula natin for unfinned tubular heat exchangers. I hope you guys are able to follow pa. That's on page 125. Then yun nga, sa baba niyan, makikita natin yung mga values ng ating fouling factor. So, we need to consider this depending on what fluid we are going to use on our heat exchangers. Yon. And analysis, yan guys, ito ay for our overall heat transfer coefficient pa lang. Guys, parang nag-review lang tayo dito kasi pinakita lang sa inyo again kung paano pinagsama ang thermal resistances natin in terms of conduction and convection. Yan, breakdown lang yan. Tapos nagdagdag lang tayo ng fouling factor natin. Yung resistance due to fouling. Because of impurities, rust formation, corrosion. Yan. Same lang yan kung matatandaan nyo nung sa thermal resistance natin ng conduction. Di ba, we also consider yung mga contact resistances natin. So basically parang ganun lang din yung concept. Dito lang, we include the overall surface efficiency, eta O. Yon. So, let's proceed sa mismong analysis natin. This is on page 126, analysis natin ng using the log mean temperature difference or yung ating LMTD. If you can recall, we have already discussed this sa ating free convection, sa forced convection natin, di ba? Na internal flow, ang ating log mean temperature difference. So, ang basic formula natin, from thermodynamics, di ba? If we discuss the thermal, if we discuss the total heat rate or yung heat transfer natin, that is equal to your M times your enthalpy, your change in enthalpy, which is, excuse me, M times your enthalpy. Let's say you are evaluating the heat transfer from the hot side. So your Q is equal to your mass flow rate of the hot fluid times the change in enthalpy of the fluid, of that hot fluid, on the inlet and the outlet of the heat exchanger. So yan, that's mass flow rate times your difference in enthalpy. So kapag equal lang din yan, tandaan guys, equal lang din yan kapag you evaluate it on the cold side. Kapag sa cold side tayo nag-evaluate, that's a mass flow rate ng cold fluid nyo times the change in enthalpy on the outlet ng cold fluid minus ng ating enthalpy on the inlet of the cold fluid. Yan. And since equal nga lang sila, we can also express this kapag yung fluid natin hindi nag-undergo ng any phase change and we consider constant properties, constant yung specific heats natin. So we can evaluate this through Q equals MCP delta T. So that's your MCP. If you are evaluating on the hot side, that's mass flow rate ng inyong hot fluid times CP ng inyong hot fluid times your change in temperature on the inlet and outlet of your hot fluid, which is also equal to the mass flow rate ng cold fluid times your specific heat of the cold fluid times the change in temperature on the outlet and the inlet of the cold fluid. The temperature on the outlet and the inlet of the cold fluid. Yan, so that is how you evaluate your heat rate. Tandaan, that's still MCP delta T pa. Ulit-ulit na lang tayo na ganyan yung ginagamit natin. But we can also express our heat rate using Newton's law of cooling, since sabi dyan, yung overall heat transfer coefficient U natin is used in place of the single convection coefficient H, and since our delta T varies with position in the heat exchanger, it is necessary to work with the rate equation of the form Q equals UA delta Tm. Yan. Let's say delta TLM. That's our log mean temperature difference. So, gaya ng ating evaluation, if you can recall, sa forced convection natin, di ba? Sinabi ko sa inyo, tandaan nyo yon kasi ganun natin i-analyze yung ating log mean temperature difference. Kasi again, yung delta T natin, that is expressed at TH minus TC, sabi dyan, nagbabago yan depending on the position pa rin. Lagi yung nagbabago. So, para ma-evaluate natin siya appropriately, we can use this equation, Q equals UA delta T LM, wherein again your delta T LM is your lag mean temperature difference. So same concept tayo doon sa ating forced convection, that your delta T LM is excuse me,
Responde siya nga, re-responde.
your delta TLN is equal to delta T1 minus delta T2 all over ln delta T1 over delta T2. So, iyan pa rin, ganyan pa rin yung equation natin.
Naglilista sa unahan.
And ito, yung delta T1 at delta T2 natin, syempre, you know that noon na that's the difference kung matatandaan, di ba? Surface minus inlet, yung isa ay surface minus outlet. Well, that's just the same concept, pero in terms of the flow arrangement ng heat exchanger natin, mababago siya. So let's say we evaluate parallel flow. Pag parallel yung flow ng heat exchanger natin, let's say parallel flow. Let's say we do have concentric heat exchanger para madali. Parallel flow. Let's say ito. Sa parallel flow, let's say ito yung part ng inlet natin. Let's say ito ay cold. Ito ay cold fluid. Ito ay hot fluid. So, let's say parallel nga siya. So, pareho siya nagpo-flow papunta dito. This is your inlet. This is your outlet. Yan sa part na yan. So, when we evaluate delta T1 at delta T2, dyan, we can use our formula na you get the temperature difference ng delta T1 on this point sa inlet, then delta T2 on the outlet. Therefore, ano yung mangyayari dyan? Yung delta T1 natin will be equal to your temperature ng hot fluid on the inlet minus the temperature of the fluid on the inlet. And then your delta T2 is your temperature at the outlet minus the temperature at the outlet then. So, yan, basically ganyan yun. I hope you're getting the point. It is, again, delta T1 you evaluate it at the inlet. At the inlet, that is inlet of the hot temperature at the inlet of the hot fluid, then minus the temperature of the inlet at the cold fluid. Then sa T2, sa outlet naman tayo mag-evaluate. So, paano ba siya natin mas madaling makikita? Let's say, i-drawing natin siya sa graph. Let's say, mag-graph tayo dito. Yan. Let's say, sinabi sa tanong na parallel flow yung heat exchanger natin. So, let's say, ito yung cold fluid. Let's say, since let's say temperature natin, ito yung mataas yung temperature. So si hot fluid, let's say ito yung inlet ni hot fluid. Siyempre mag-heat exchange tayo papunta dito. So this is your hot at the inlet, temperature of the hot fluid at the inlet papunta dito sa outlet. Ngayon, siyempre si cold fluid, mababa yung temperature, pareho tayo ng flow since tayo ay parallel. So ito, so, ang flow natin papunta dito. So, si cold, yan, nandito rin yung kanyang inlet kasi parallel nga. Ngayon, since magkakameron ng heat exchange, pataas yung temperature ng cold fluid natin. Punta dito. This is your outlet temperature at the cold fluid. So, therefore, Ano yung delta T1 dyan? Ito yung delta T1. Ito yung ating delta T1, delta T1. That is the difference on the temperature on the inlet of the hot fluid and the cold fluid. Whereas, yung delta T2 natin, itong part na to, delta T2. Delta T2. So that is, naman, delta T2 is the change in temperature on the outlet ng hot fluid at ng cold fluid. So, yun, may evaluate natin si delta TLM. Yan. And then, ano pa yung need natin? We also do have counterflow. So, same concept lang siya. It's just that yung flow natin, yung flow ng ating fluid is counter flow. Ibig sabihin, let's say, i-drawing ulit natin ay double pipe. Kasi siya yung pinakasimple. Again, guys, yun yung pinakasimple. So, let's have a double pipe heat exchanger. So, let's say ito yung heat exchanger natin. Yan. Ito yung nandito yung hot fluid, nandito yung cold fluid. Yan. Let's say, yung hot fluid natin nagpo-flow, nandito yung inlet niya. So, nagpo-flow dito. Nagpo-flow dyan yung fluid natin. Let's say, cold fluid papunta dito sa kabila. And yung inlet niya nandito. Sa kabilang side. So, mapapansin nyo, magkaiba sila ng flow in opposite direction. So, kapag ginraft natin yan, i-drawing natin sa graph, let's say, ito hot fluid natin, from this, nandito yung inlet niya, this is your temperature at the inlet na hot fluid, tapos, papunta sa outlet, so bababa yung temperature kasi magkakaroon ng heat exchange, so hot sa outlet. Then dito, nandito sa part na to, magsisimula yung ating cold fluid, 'di ba? So nandito yung inlet na cold fluid. Nandito yung inlet ng cold fluid. So papunta dito yung direction niya, ditong sa hot fluid, sa cold fluid, opposite direction kasi counterflow, papunta dito. Yan, so nandito, TCI, ito yung TCO mo. So yan yung direction natin. So therefore, when you evaluate delta T1, ito yan. Ito yung delta T1 mo kapag counterflow. So your delta T1 ay equal sa inlet ng hot fluid minus the outlet ng cold fluid. Then delta T2 is THO minus TCI. Yan. So, yun yung pinakaiba nila. Dapat naiintindihan nyo. So, pag nag-graph kayo, makikita nyo naman yan. Ang technique lang dyan, again, pag parallel, mag-drawing, ang technique lang dyan, pag parallel, mag-drawing kayo ng dalawang ganyan. Ito yung hot, syempre mas mataas yan, inlet, outlet. Parallel sila, pareho sila ng direction, papunta din dito. So ito, inlet, outlet. Then, makikita nyo na kung ano ang T1, T2. Then kapag counterflow, i-drawing nyo ulit, mag-drawing kayo ng dalawang ganyan. Yung inlet, ito yung inlet ng hot, ito yung sa outlet. Kung papunta dito yan, itong kabila papunta dito. So opposite. Nandito naman ang inlet. Ito yung outlet. So yun, ganun lang. Mas madali nyo siya maintindihan. Madaling, para hindi kayo malito kapag sa pagsusolve ng delta T1 at delta T2. And then once you solve it, then that's good to go. Masosolve na natin ang heat transfer rate kasi meron na tayong delta TLM and then makukuha natin si overall heat transfer coefficient based sa equations natin kanina and yung area, kung anong area ng ating tube. Ayun, so give me 1 minute, magsi-CR lang ako 1 minute. Be right back guys, 1 minute. Before tayo mag-proceed sa continuation, yun, yung itong present natin is using the log mean temperature difference na calculation Then yung sunod natin i-discuss is using the effectiveness NTU method. So, pagsasabay na natin yung discussion para dire-diretso tayong pagsasolve. Yun, saglit lang. CR lang ako, 1 minute. Okay, let's proceed. So yun, kung mapapansin nyo,
Wala pa rehistro. Sasabihin ko bukas.
yung lagmit temperature difference natin, itong formula na to, itong pagsasolve natin using this can be done, we can use this kapag binigay yung inlet and outlet temperatures ng ating mga fluids. Or makukuha natin siya through the energy balance, through energy balance natin, masosolve natin yan. We can use that process. Pero kung hindi given or hindi natin masosolve siya, yung lagmit temperature difference natin, kasi ang given lang ay inlet temperatures, excuse me, then what we can do or what we can use is the effectiveness NTU method. So ano ba ang meron dito sa effectiveness NTU method? So, yan. Ano ba yung effectiveness NTU method? So, let's define first, ano ba yung effectiveness? Based dyan, sabi sa page 133, page 133, guys, your effectiveness is the ratio of your heat rate and your maximum heat rate. Maximum possible heat rate. So, gaya ng sabi natin kanina, paano ba natin masosolve ang heat rate? That is through the use of our MCP delta T. Let's say we evaluate it at our hot side. So ito ay MH, CPH, inlet minus outlet ng hot side. Then our Qmax, we can evaluate Qmax based on MCP pa din. MCP. This is minimum, CP minimum. THO, inlet minus inlet ng hot at cold. Kasi again, we evaluate this method, we use this method kung ang given lang sa atin ay inlet temperatures ng fluids natin. So, yan. Paano natin malalaman yung minimum? Or, well, we can also say this, kung gusto natin ay sa cold side, so MC, CPC, TCI, minus TCO, all over, M minimum, CP minimum, THI, minus TCI. Well, this is TCO pala. Sorry, TCO minus TCI kasi mas mataas na yung temperature ng outlet kapag malamig. Yan. Wherein, paano natin makukuha o paano natin ma-evaluate si minimum? Paano natin masasabing minimum yung ating ito? Paano natin masasabing minimum yan? That is through solving for MCP. MCP. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, yung yung capital C, this is equal to MCP. Yan. Again, yung capital C is equal to MCP. So, yan, kuya, kung mapapansin nyo, yung formula natin ng effectiveness dyan is capital C, H. So, ganon. Kasi yung C is equal to MCP. So, yung minimum natin, kung ano ang masasolve nating minimum, guys, siya yung ilalagay natin sa denominator. Tandaan kung ano yung magpo-provide ng minimum C, itong C na to, siya yung magpo-provide ng pinakamataas na the maximum heat transfer possible. Tandaan yon. Yung concept behind that is that kapag kasi minimum yung ating MCP, itong MCP natin, kapag minimum yan, then that would correspond to having the maximum temperature change na mangyayari sa fluid. What do I mean with that? Saglit. Saglit lang. Yan. Going back, guys, kung ano yung C minimum, again, that is your MCP, siya yung nakaka-experience ng largest temperature change ng fluid. Ang temperature ng fluid. Largest temperature change of the fluid. Let's say, your capital C, H, is less than capital C, cold. Ibig sabihin, yung MCP, itong MCP ng ating hot fluid is less than ng MCP ng ating cold fluid. Ibig sabihin, yung change in temperature ng ating fluid ay mas malaki on that fluid. So, let's say ito. Yan, ganyan. Kapag mababa yung MCP, tandaan, pag mababa yung MCP natin, yung mass times CP natin, mas mataas yung kanyang temperature change. Ibig sabihin, kapag mas mataas yung temperature change niya, ibig sabihin, magpuproduce siya ng maximum heat rate. Maximum heat transfer rate. Yan yung tandaan nyo. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang mas maliit ay CP ng cold, mas maliit yung CP ng cold, and therefore, mas malaki yung temperature change niya. Yan. Yan. So, yan. Ganyan. That's the concept kung paano nakukuha yung maximum heat transfer rate. Again, kung alin yung mas mababa na MCP, yun yung i-consider nyo dito. Kasi, ang concept nun, kapag mababa yung MCP, malaki ang temperature change ng fluid, magbibigay siya ng maximum heat transfer rate. Yun. Yan.
Hindi naman, okay.
And then,
Ay, nakita pa naman ang pansit na napakarami ko. Hindi mo makita kung
so from this, we can get our formula dito, 'di ba? Pwede nating paglaruan tong formula na to. We can derive what we need dito. So let's say yung Q, syempre pag we are going to solve for the actual heat rate, then that would be your Q max times your effectiveness. And yan, your effectiveness or your Q max, syempre, will be effectiveness times your Q max is your C minimum times inlet minus inlet ng cold fluid. So that's basically ito yung formula natin for actual heat rate. And then we can also evaluate our effectiveness, since that is a function of NTU, then your C min over C max. And makikita natin yan when you look at page, page 137. Page 137 and page 138. Sa page 137, these are the formulas of your effectiveness. Ito yung formula nyo ng effectiveness kung you consider these relations. Let's say, yung concentric tube, tas parallel flow, shell and tube, one shell pass, yeah. You use this formulas. Ito yung relationship ng ating effectiveness. Then, if we are going to relate, or if we are going to solve for the NTU relations, you can use table 11.4 on the next page. Page 138. So, that is how you solve for NTU naman. Kapag, kapag concentric tube, shell and tube, yan yung formula natin to solve for NTU. And then, yung ating mga figures, you check figure 11.10, relationship ito, 11.10, 11, hanggang 11.13 na figures, relationship naman ito ng NTU at effectiveness natin given ang C min over C max. So, ibig sabihin, that's basically your C cold over C hot. Sige, sulat natin. Table 11.3, tandaan nyo to table 11.3, if you are going to solve for the effectiveness relations, yan, depending on what type of construction yung ating heat exchanger, may it be concentric, shell and tube, or cross flow, and also you have to consider the flow arrangement. Is it parallel flow, counter flow, or is it one shell pass, end shell pass, or both fluids unmixed, or mix unmixed. So yan, nandiyan yung mga parameters depending on the problem, depending on your analysis din. That's table 11.3, page 137. These are your formulas. Then, kapag naman you are going to solve for the NTU relations, NTU, this is by the way, sorry, hindi natin na-discuss kanina. NTU is your number of transfer units. This is a dimensionless parameter that is widely used for heat exchanger analysis. So your NTU is equal to your overall heat transfer coefficient times area over C minimum. Yan. Tandaan to. Ito yung formula natin ng NTU. Yan. Kasi di ba may formula tayo ng effectiveness. Ito naman yung formula for NTU. Then, if kailangan natin ng relationship, we look at table 11.4 to get NTU. Table 11.4 to get our NTU. Depending again on the construction ng ating heat exchanger, depende sa construction ng ating heat exchanger, depende sa flow arrangement ng fluid natin on our heat exchanger. Yan. So yan yung mga formulas na ginagamit natin. And then from figure 11.10, figure 11.10 to 11.13, yan naman ang relationship mismo ng ating NTU, your effectiveness versus NTU. Makikita nyo yan. So, yan, 11.10, relationship yan ng effectiveness at NTU ng parallel flow heat exchanger. Sa 11.11, counter flow heat exchanger. 11.12, shell and tube with one shell and any multiple of two tube passes. So, any even number na tube passes. Then, 11.13, ay shell and tube with two shell passes and multiple of 4. So 4, 8, 12 tube passes. Yeah. And paano nyo siya i-evaluate? Paano nyo siya i-evaluate? When you look at the given, may mga lines tayo dyan. That is yung Cmin over Cmax. Diba? We all know how to establish Cmin. Nakadepende dito kung ano yung mas malaking value ng MCP ng ating fluid. So basically, kung ang Cmin mo ay hot fluid, so this is CH over cold fluid. Pero kung ang minimum mo naman ay cold fluid, so this is gonna be CC over CH. So yan, you get the ratio of that, and makikita nyo siya dyan, 0, 0.25, 0.5, at saka 0.75, at saka 1. So from that, yung ating, pag nakuha natin yan, and let's say given tayo ng effectiveness, na-solve natin ng effectiveness, we can get NTU. Or vice versa, kung given tayo ng NTU, kung meron tayong NTU, makukuha natin si effectiveness based sa ratio ng Cmin over Cmax. Yan. And again guys, nakadepende to sa kung anong type ng construction at kung anong flow arrangement yung ating ini-evaluate. Yan. So, ito yung mga formulas na need natin consider sa heat exchanger. So, let's have an example. Let's try to solve problems para you will be able to analyze then. Let's start with problem 1. Page nasaan? Siya. Page nasaan yun? Ito. Page ano to? 131. Page 131. So, sinabi, counterflow concentric tube heat exchanger. Isulat na natin, counterflow. Counterflow concentric heat exchanger is used to cool the lubricating oil for a large industrial gas turbine engine. The flow rate of the cooling water through the inner tube, 25 millimeters. So since siya ay concentric, di ba, inner tube, ito daw ay cold water equal to 25 millimeters. Then, ang flow rate daw dito is 0.25 kilogram per second. And then, yung flow rate ng oil sa annulus, ibig sabihin yung space between the two tubes, ang flow rate daw dito ay 0.1 kilogram. Sorry, tama, 0.1 kilogram per second. Yung flow rate pala sa loob ng water natin is 0.2. Sorry. 0.2. Then, ang diameter natin ay 45. Yung annulus daw natin, this is 45 millimeters. 45 millimeters. Then, the oil and water enter at temperatures of 130 degrees Celsius. So, ibig sabihin, let's say, ang inlet ng water, let's say ito, inlet, kasi counterflow, tandaan, counterflow. So, yung isa papunta dito, yung isa papunta dito. So, let's say, pag ginrowing natin sa graph, let's say, ito yung graph natin, maglagay tayo ng graph. Ang inlet daw ng oil ay 100 degrees Celsius. So, let's say, ito yung inlet ng oil. Inlet ng oil. So, oil, siya yung hot natin. Siya yung hot inlet. This is at 100 degrees Celsius. This is 100 degrees Celsius. Then, papunta siya dito sa outlet niya. Then, since counterflow, guys, di ba sabi counterflow, so ibig sabihin yung cooling liquid natin, yung cooling water, papunta dito sa kabila. Counterflow. So, ang inlet niya, nandito, inlet natin, ng cooling water daw ay 30 degrees Celsius. Then, ang tanong, gaano daw kahaba ang tube? Tinatanong, gaano kahaba ang tube? Kung ang outlet ng temperature ng oil is 60 degrees Celsius, ito daw ay 60 degrees Celsius. Na tinatanong ay length ng tube. Yan. So, meron, na-establish natin ang given, alam natin ang hinahanap, yung length, then, meron tayo schematic diagram, then let's have our assumptions. Ano yung mga assumptions natin? Ano yung mga assumptions natin based dito? First, syempre, we neglect radiation. Neglect radiation to the surroundings. Pangalawa ay neglect natin din since moving siya, 'di ba? This is a moving fluid, we also neglect kinetic and potential energy changes. Then we also assume constant properties, hindi nababago specific heats natin, constant properties. Then, we also neglect yung mga resistances sa wall ng ating tube. Yung wall resistances, para hindi tayo mag-solve noon. And wala naman sinabing fouling factor, so we also neglect fouling factor. Neglect fouling factor. Ayan. And then, we evaluate the properties. We get the properties of both the oil and water. So, let's get T ng oil, yung mean sa oil. Ano ang mean temperature niya? 100 at 60 divide 2 plus 273. This is equal to 80 plus 273. That is 353 Kelvin. So you give me the properties of oil at 350 Kelvin. You give me the CP, yung K natin, yung mu, and our, ano ba yung lagi natin ginagamit? Yung Prandtl. Give me the value of CP. Guys, tandaan ha, ang kailangan natin ay naka-joule per kilogram Kelvin. Joule per kilogram Kelvin. Yan ay naka-kilojoule. So therefore, this is 130.9 joule per kilogram Kelvin. How about your thermal conductivity?
So, research day wala rin.
1.38 times 10 to the negative 3 watt per meter Kelvin. Your absolute viscosity. Sorry, this is sorry, mali ako ng tingin. This is 138 pala, 138. Times 10 to the negative 3. Then your mu is 3.248. 3.248 times 10 to the negative 2 Pascal second. And your Prandtl number equal to Prandtl number equal to 491.7. And these parameters ay nakuha nyo sa table 8.5. Tama? Table 8.5. Yan. Next, we get the properties of our fluid, of our cooling water. Ng water natin, H2O, the mean temperature. Guys, kung mapapansin nyo, wala tayong temperature. Wala tayong temperature ng water. Wala tayong property ng water. 'Di ba? Kasi hindi natin makukuha ang wala tayong given ng outlet temperature. So balikan natin siya mamaya. Wala tayong hindi natin makukuha yung mean. So mag-analyze muna tayo. Magsimula tayo mag-analyze. Solve tayo, analysis. Ano yung parameter na meron tayo? Makukuha natin ang Q, di ba? Because ang Q natin is MCP delta T ng inlet at outlet. Ano yung kompleto tayong parameter? Meron tayo ng sa oil, which is yung ating hot fluid, yung hot fluid natin. So your MH, CPH, THI minus DHO. We get the heat rate. Anong mass flow rate natin? Ng oil, 0.1 kilogram per second. Your CP, Sabi nyo is 2130. 2130.9 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Then your inlet and outlet is 100 minus 60.
Okay, let's go.
So your Q is 8523.6. 8523.6 watts. Kasi kilogram, cancel. Kelvin, Kelvin ito, di ba? May Celsius, Celsius tayo dito, cancel yan. This is your Q. Now, we get our outlet. Ano ba yung wala natin? Outlet ng
Namiss lang ang pansit.
outlet ng cold fluid. So this is going to be mass ng cold, CP ng cold, outlet, mas mataas ang outlet temperature minus PCI. So you substitute 8523.6 watts equals cold is 0.2
Hindi naman kasi
kilogram per second.
pansit dati.
Akalain ni Joanna na
Your CP, may CP ba tayo ng, ng cold water? Wala. Wala tayong CP ng cold water. Unknown. Tapos TCO, unknown din. Minus, inlet natin is, inlet is 30.
Wag, Diyos ko, boy. Hindi kayo gaya dito.
Linda.
Yan.
Ilang episode?
Saglit lang guys. Yan. Wala tayong CP ng cold. In this case, we get, guys, we get the property of the cold fluid that is near near the value of our inlet temperature. What do I mean with that? We will be having an assumptions. Kasi, di ba, yung ating outlet ng hot is 60 degrees Celsius. So, this is what I do. Outlet natin is 60 degrees Celsius. So, ibig sabihin, yung ating temperature dito, yung temperature natin dito will not be more than 60 degrees Celsius. This would more likely be equal to more likely be equal to 60 degrees Celsius or lower than that. So, let's say ang assumption natin ay 40 degrees Celsius. Let's say 40 degrees Celsius yung ating 40 degrees Celsius yung outlet natin dito. So, kung 40 degrees yung outlet natin, this is guys, is merely an assumption. Let's say 40 degrees Celsius. So, para makakuha tayo ng property, that's 30 plus 40 over 2 plus 273. This is equal to 35 plus 273. This is equal to 30 plus 40 plus over 2 plus 273. 308 Kelvin. So in this case, since tayo ay nagawa tayo ng assumption na yung outlet natin is 40 degrees Celsius, plus 308 Kelvin yung solve natin, ano yung parameter ng water na malapit sa 308 para hindi na tayo mag-interpolate? 310. So, kuhanin natin yung properties ng 310 ng water. Your CP, your K, your absolute viscosity, and your Prandtl. Give me the values of this. CP, 4178 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Your K is 628. 628 ano yun? Saktong 628 ba yun? Hindi naka-raise. Let me double check. Six to 8 times 10 to the negative 3. Watt per meter Kelvin, your absolute viscosity. .695 times 10 to the negative 6 Pascal second, and your Prandtl number. It's 4.62. Excuse me, 4.62. Now we substitute our CP dito. So gamitin natin CP 4178 joule per kilogram Kelvin. So what will be our outlet temperature? .2005744 Kelvin. Sorry, degrees Celsius. So ibig sabihin guys, yung ating approximation kanina is malapit. Malapit yung approximation natin kanina. Excuse me. Saglit. Table A.6. Yeah. 4.2005744 degrees Celsius. So that is your this is our outlet temperature. Guys, also in this kind of questions wherein hindi natin alam yung property ng fluid natin, we assume this value as well, 4.178 as our CP. Lagi na lang ganyan yung gamitin natin, 4.178. The CP of water, specific heat of water, 4.178. Yeah, so ito yung outlet natin. Na-solve na natin yung outlet temperature. So again, napatunayan natin, yung assumption natin kanina is near the solved value. Now, let's solve for our, ano ba yung hinahanap? Length ng tube. So, ito outlet na lang yung nasa-solve natin. So, kuhanin natin yung length ng tube. Paano natin siya makukuha? That is, your Q equals UA delta TLM. Diba? Your overall heat transfer coefficient times area times delta TLM. So, meron tayong Q. Na-solve natin yung Q. So, let's say, yung Q natin is itong A. Ito, this is your A. So, this is A. Nakastore sa A equals your overall heat transfer coefficient. Since we neglect, diba kanina, we neglect wall resistances, hindi natin i-consider ang conduction thermal resistance sa pagsosolve. Hindi natin siya i-consider. So, ang i-consider lang natin ay yung mga convection resistances natin. Again, we know that our U, di ba, is equal to 1 over R. So, i-substitute natin yan ngayon dito. U equals 1 over R. So, ano ang resistances natin? That is 1 over HO plus 1 over HI. Nagigets nyo yung point, di ba? Resistances natin, ito yan, yung delta TLM natin, yung driving potential natin sa taas. Yung driving potential natin sa taas yan. Kaya siya, nasa taas. Then, resistance natin nasa denominator, 1 over R. Diba? So, kaya, ang 1 over R equals sa U, kaya tumaas lang siya dyan. So, pareho lang yan, naka-resistance lang din tayo. Yan, then, we do have, as well, our pi DL. Anong area natin? That's pi DL. So, pi D inner L times your delta TLM. So, ang delta TLM mo is delta T1 minus delta T2 all over ln delta T1 over delta T2. Yan. So, yung substitute, again, meron tayong Q. Yung H sub O, isa-isahin natin. Yung H sub O, kuhanin natin. Paano natin masosolve si H sub O? Erase. Yan. Paano natin kukuhanin si H sub O? Si H sub O ay yung fluid sa labas ng inner tube. Yung fluid sa labas ng inner tube. Ito yan. Nasa labas. Nasa labas siya. So, we evaluate that. We evaluate
Ngayon, kung tatanungin ko kayo, what is 831? Ayun, 831 na kayo. Ang 831 daw ay 6. Bakit? Kasi ang element na nasa third row, second row, first column ay 6.
yan. Tama. Kuhanin natin yung fluid sa labas. Yung HO nang nasa labas. So, isosolve natin si H sub O. Isa-isahin natin. Si H sub O muna isolve natin. So, si H sub O ay convection external flow. Diba? Convection external flow. Yan, yung nasa labas natin. So, anong gagawin natin? Establish natin na siya ay external flow. Then, we get our Reynolds number. Yung Reynolds number natin, kapag external flow is rho, tapos yung ating velocity, then, ano ba yung kino-consider natin doon? Yung outside, di ba? Itong annulus. Anong size niyan? That is your DO minus DI over your absolute viscosity. Ngayon, paano natin makukuha si velocity? Paano natin makukuha yung si velocity na yan? That is true mass equals rho area times velocity, di ba? Ito yan. kinukuha natin to, 'di ba? Kasi mass flow rate is equal to density times volume. Volume flow rate ito. Wherein ito is your U. Area times your velocity U. So, makukuha natin dito si U. In terms of U, ang formula natin is U equals mass flow rate over density times area. Anong area natin? That's pi over 4 dO squared minus di squared. You substitute this dito. So that will be rho dO minus di over mu times your mass flow rate. Ano yung fluid natin doon? Nasa labas, that's your hot fluid over rho pi over 4 dO squared minus di squared. Now you cancel rho, cancel. Substitute. DO, your DO is 0.045 minus 0.025. Your viscosity nung yung oil natin sa labas, that's 3.248. 3.248 times 10 to the negative 2 Pascal second. Yan. Tapos yung ating mass flow rate ng water is 0.2. Sorry, this is ng oil is 0.1 kilogram per second over pi over 4 dO squared is 0.045 squared minus 0.025 squared. Yeah, then we will get our Reynolds number. So ano ang sagot natin? Ano ang Reynolds number natin? That is 56.00103557. Therefore, this fluid is laminar. External to guys, tandaan, external flow to kasi again guys, ito ang ini-evaluate natin, itong tube sa loob. Itong tube sa loob. And yung oil ay nasa labas ng tube. Therefore, this is external flow. Ano ang formula natin to solve for H? Kapag external flow, sa correlation natin, sa external flow, that is your Nusselt number equals 0.664 RE raised to 1/2 Prandtl raised to 1/3. Yan. However guys, kung mapapansin nyo, kapag binalikan nyo tong formula na to, ng sa laminar or sa external flow natin, saglit guys, kapag binalikan natin, yan, sa ating doon sa lesson natin about forced convection external flow, you will see that this is not applicable kasi Kasi siya ay yung Prandtl number ay ano? Greater than 0.6. 'Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, since siya ay hindi applicable doon, ano yung ating pwedeng gamitin dito? Anong pwede natin gamitin na parameter sa pagsosolve ng NU? Ano kaya? Isip. Hindi natin siya pwedeng gamitin kasi sorry guys, mali din. Hindi din talaga natin siya pwedeng gamitin kasi this is for flat plate nga pala, for flat plate to. We need to consider circular tube, sorry. Hindi talaga to pwede. Circular tube na laminar. That is using anong correlation ang gusto nung gamitin? We use we use Hilbert correlation. Hilbert, ang formula ni Hilbert ay NU equals, C RE PR RE raised to M PR raised to 1/3. Yan. So, substitute natin from the table. Tingnan yung table natin. Page, ano ng book to? Saglit. Page, 72, 73, 74. Page 74 ng book. Anong magiging C natin ngayon? Ang Reynolds number natin ay 56. So, anong C natin? That is 0.683. 0.683. Then yung Reynolds number, substitute natin yung Reynolds number. Let's say ito ay store in B. Nakastore sa B. So, ito ay B. Then your M ay 0.466. Based sa table, 0.466. Then your Prandtl number equal to, ano Prandtl number natin? 491.7 raised to 1/3. Give me the value of your NU, your Nusselt number. Your Nusselt number is 35.1814 285. Now you get your HO using yung Nusselt number natin equals H DO minus DI kasi ang kailangan natin yung annulus lang, yung size ng annulus over K. You substitute this. So let's say this is your C. So C equals H ng outer. DO is 0.20, 0.45. Sorry. 0.045 minus 0.025 all over K. 138 times 10 to the negative 3.
Kung ang matrix, ano is natin is denoted by
Our HO is 242.7518567 watt per square meter Kelvin. Now let's get ano yung hinahanap natin? HI. HI naman. Yung HI natin, masasolve natin since siya ay internal flow. Internal flow. So, ano ang formula natin ng Reynolds number for internal flow? That is ano formula natin? That is 4M over pi d mu. So, you substitute 4M. Ang M natin is yung water natin, 0.2 kilogram per second. Then, all over pi, your diameter is your inside diameter. Kung nasaan yung fluid, that's 0.025. 0.025 meter. Then, your absolute viscosity is 695 times 10 to the negative 6. Pascal second. So, our Reynolds number is equal to
nag-i-invent ko ng method ko doon. Wala pa yung
14655. 0.99476. Since this is greater than 2,300, this is turbulent. So you solve for the Nusselt number using ano pwede natin gamitin? We can use Deitos-Boelter. Deitos-Boelter. Using Deitos-Boelter, this is Nu equals 0.023 Re 4/5 Prandtl raised to, saan natin ginamit yung fluid natin? We use that for cooling. Sorry. Cooling water siya, malamig na tubig. So, ang mangyayari sa kanya ay may heat siya kasi may heat transfer na nangyayari, di ba? So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya lalamig. Iinit yung malamig nating tubig, yung cooling water natin ay iinit. So, therefore, ang ating gagamitin dito is 0.4 kasi again, iinit yung ating cooling water. So 0.4 yung gagamitin natin dyan. So you substitute, yung Prandtl number natin kanina is 4.62. So you substitute dito, 4.62. So you will get our Nusselt number equal to 91.288. Sorry, 91.28446.342. So again, you solve for your internal heat transfer coefficient, HI, DI over K. So this is your D. You store it on D. Then HI. Inside diameter is 0.025. 0.025, tama. Meter. Your thermal conductivity is 628 times 10 to the negative 3. So our HI is equal to 2293.065721 watt per square meter Kelvin. Now, kompleto na. Meron tayong HO, meron tayong HI, itong L, wala tayong L. So, ito na lang delta T1 at delta T2. So, you evaluate it, yung delta TLM natin. So, delta T1 minus delta T2 all over ln delta T1 over delta T2. So, tingnan ulit yung diagram. Ang delta T1 natin ay itong part na to. So, that is THI minus TCO. So, THI minus TCO minus ang delta T2 ay THO minus TCI. THO minus TCI. Then all over ln THI minus TCO all over THO minus TCI. Now, this is equal to your delta TLM. So, give me the value of your delta TLM.
Wala na rin akong boss. 2, 4, 6,
That is 43.200 17813 degrees Celsius. Now, you substitute it dito sa equation natin. Kompleto na. Sa Q equals ano nga yun? 1 over H sub I plus 1 over H sub O pi inner diameter times your length times your delta TLM. Delta TLM. Yan, kompleto na ang ating parameters. We have our Q, we have our HI, we have our HO, we have our DI, we have our delta TLM. Give me the value of your length, the length of the tube.
Ma'am, kayo magturo, lalo pag Mondays.
Hindi
Ay,
nag-exist.
get cool yun. Sir Len, thank you so much.
Tapos na naman tayo.
What is the value of your length?
Kung ako rin may test.
Anong sagot, guys?
Ang dami.
Ang ginaw, dahil kung may aircon.
Anong sagot? Anong sagot, guys?
Binabash nyo nga ako.
Bakit magkaiba? Bakit magkaiba?
Joke lang, ma'am.
Paki-confirm ng sagot. Ito ang value ng HI at HO. Paki-solve.
Hindi yata umabot ng mga yan. Basis na yan.
232 ano?
Ay, wala. Nagka-classic. Oh.
Okay, so your answer is 11.444 23026 meters. So this is the length ng ating tube. Yan. And
Minus. Five. Minus.
yeah, so this is how you solve this kinds of problem. And if you will consult our book, you can see there na nag-present sila or gumamit sila ng ratio ng DI over DO. DI over DO. Sa book, i-check nyo. Kinuha nila yung ratio na yan, then they look at table A.2 ng mismong book ng mismong book natin, hindi sa manual. I'm trying to look at the manual kung binigay sa manual ang table A.2. Let me just check.
Sabi nila ni Coco, may mga reports ng tapos yung direction ng transaction.
Let me just double check
Hindi ko pa rin napupunta. Hindi pa sila pinaka. Nag-upisa nga sila sa 25.
Yung sagot.
Yan. Sorry, this is, tama, DI over DO. Yan. And since, guys, hindi kasi hindi provide sa atin, hindi provide sa book, sa manual nyo, yung table A.2 and table A.3 for annulus, we can stick with this solution. We can stick with this solution. But I want you to get a copy of annulus section then. That's table 8.2 and 8.3 on our reference book. Kay Incoprera. So, yung kay Bergman, let me just check. Tama. Yung kay Bergman and Incoprera na book, you consult table 8.2 and table 8.3. And from this, hindi tayo gagamit dito nitong kay Hilpert. Hindi tayo gagamit itong kay Hilpert na calculation. Hindi tayo gagamit itong kay Hilpert. Kapag yun yung ginamit natin, itong table 8.2 and 8.3, you consult this, then iba yung lalabas na sagot. Again, since hindi naman pinrovide sa manual yung table 8.2 at 8.3 na nasa book, let's stick with this solution. But for more accurate solution, gamitin nyo yung ratio na to, DI over DO, then you look for the annulus section, yung gumamit ng annulus, then you solve the length. You solve this length, and you'll get a different answer. That is, you can do that on your problem set. That will be fine. You can do that. So, yun, you try to resolve this. You try to resolve this by consulting table 8.2 of our book. Saglit, isa pang check kung siya ay wala talaga sa atin. Yes, hindi pre-provide sa atin. Hindi pre-provide. So, in this case, we stick with this, but I want you guys to solve, since meron pa tayong tatlong tanong, you solve this yung HO natin, you solve this HO using laminar, di ba laminar condition to? Tama ba? Laminar. So, let's try using yung sa internal flow natin. Yan. Itong Nusselt number natin, you try to use from page 87. This is for a more accurate solution. Then from page 87, you try the correlation NUD equals 4.36, or your NUD is equal to 3.66. You resolve this. This will also give you a more accurate answer, but you have to make sure that there should be an assumption. You say your surface heat flux is constant, then you use 4.36 in this solution. Then if your assumption is your surface temperature is constant, then you use 3.66. You resolve this everything not using Hilpert pa. Hindi natin gagamitin si Hilpert. You use 4.36 and 3.66 or 3.66 sa value nyo ng NU, so mababago yung HO natin. So that is your assignment, guys. That is your assignment. That is a more accurate solution. Since this is internal flow nga pala ito. So kaysa i-resolve natin ulit siya, i-resolve nyo using this. Make sure that you use the right assumption. It's either constant surface temperature or constant heat flux. Yan. Naintindihan ba?